who actually is, putting his money where his mouth is. That said, I'm not sure it was really his decision to work that day. I feel like it was more of a Newsmax corporate decision to work that day. But regardless, he worked on Labor Day while, hating on those that brought him Labor Day. So I guess good on him. But also, look, a lot of the history he brings up here is not wrong. He's correctly identifying that unions, communists, and socialists brought the world a Labor Day. In some places, May Day. So this is not wrong. This is correct. Yet, just the weird thing is he's framing it in a way as you should be angry about this. You should be pissed off at the unions, at the communists, at the socialists that they gave you this day off. Not to mention, when I get to more of the history here, weekends, child labor laws, workplace safety laws. Like, to get angry about this, what's the audience here? Who's the audience for Newsmax? I have to imagine it's mostly retirees that I guess, I don't know, don't recognize that they benefited from these things as well when they were working. At this point, don't care at all because they're retired. I don't know, but like, how can you possibly vibe with this idea that you should be hating on Labor Day, hating on a day off work, when Americans are some of the most work people in the world? And I'll get to a bit on that in a second as well. But first here, look, this graphic, just hilarious. Labor Day equals anarchy, as Jason Campbell writes here, hating a day off to own the libs. And, it's also worth mentioning, there's two moments in this segment, there's several, but two stood out to me. At one point, he says, labor unionizing to wield power over employers, as if he caught himself saying employees when he meant to say employers, because of course unions are not to wield power over employees, over the workers. They're to give workers a voice and wield power over employers who have all the power in a workplace unless there is a union. Again, who is this message for? Like, all this anger, all this resentment towards Labor Day, it's either targeted at those that don't know anything, which I have to imagine is a large portion of the Newsmax audience, but also targeted just at capital owners, at shitty bosses. So it's just this bizarre idea that working people to the bone is somehow beneficial to anyone. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't have this in this segment, but maybe I should have included it. There's a lot of these trials now for 4-day work weeks, and they are all working out. I mean, look up 4-day work week result, and you will see that not even just the employees, of course, are happy, but even the employers are happy. They're seeing their workers actually be more productive because they have that extra day off. They feel like they are respected in the workplace in a way that they weren't respected before. They feel more agency over their own lives. They're able to spend more time with their families, do their own thing. So when you actually do what is best for workers, it also benefits those at the top of these companies. Now, in some cases, maybe that isn't true. Like Amazon, I think if you work people to the bone, sending packages out same day, then that is going to ultimately benefit those at the top of the company. But in some cases, in a lot of cases, 4-day work weeks are incredibly beneficial for both the employee and the employer. But let me show you this. So I've shown this graph in other videos as well, but this is from the Economic Policy Institute. As union membership declines, income inequality increases. So this is union membership and share of income going to the top 10% from 1917 to 2019, showing you that even if you are not in a union, the existence of unions, of higher union membership, benefits all workers because it sets a standard for what is acceptable in the workplace in terms of wages, in terms of workplace safety. So when you have more unions, everybody benefits. And you see that here. And this goes to 2019. In the past couple of years, we've seen more of a resurgence in terms of the push towards unionization. You saw that with Amazon. You're seeing that with Starbucks. There's like over 250, I think now, Starbucks locations that have voted to unionize. Other places as well. I think Chipotle had their first union vote as well. So you're seeing a greater push for that now, and it'll be I want to see where this graph goes in the future if that trend continues, because I guarantee you, if that increase in union membership continues, you're going to see the share of the income going to the top 10% decline. But that will, again, take a few years for something like that to take effect, assuming membership keeps up and this momentum continues. But a little more here on the history of how people got Labor Day, weekends, and the rest. So from Time Magazine, bumper stickers aren't known for being the most trustworthy source of historical fact, but the one that proclaims that weekends are brought to you by the labor movement gets it exactly right. If anything, it doesn't go far enough. So in the 1930s, or only in the 1930s, did the tide turn for workers, with Franklin D. Roosevelt in the White House, allies in Congress, and the first female cabinet member in Secretary of Labor Frances Perkins. A series of reforms were implemented. In 1938, Congress passed the Fair Labor Standards Act that established the 8-hour day and 5-day week for wage workers. But don't solely thank the politicians. As FDR once told Union and Civil Rights leader A. Philip Randolph, he agreed with the labor movement's ideas, but he needed the activists to go out and make me do it. So, look, there's a lot more history on this, but all history showcases that none of this would have happened if it weren't for unions, communists, and socialist groups getting together and pushing for these labor laws. So this is a lesson for today as well. You're not going to see, especially politicians now that are completely bought by massive corporations and the wealthy, they're not going to do anything for the working class unless they feel like they need to do it. So this is, again, shows you why it's important to have a strong labor movement. Last piece here. So compared to workers in other industrialized countries, American workers toil far more hours and receive far fewer days off. The World Economic Forum reports that U.S. workers on average labor 1,783 hours a year compared to 1,363 hours for German or 1,470 hours for French workers. According to the American Time Use Survey, in 2018, men with full-time jobs labored 8.99 hours a day and women 8.56 hours, though most women also perform several hours a day of unpaid household labor. So Americans, some of the most overworked in the developed world, and, it's obvious as to why. Massive corporations, as I said, and the wealthy largely control policy. Last bit here. Eric Bolling wasn't always a hater of labor, or of Labor Day, I should say. Here he is back in 2015 while he worked for Fox News saying, "Morning, everybody. Have a fabtastic Sunday and enjoy the continuation of your Labor Day weekend." I'm going to guess Eric Bolling took that Monday off. But at Newsmax, he's forced to work and has a whole segment about, how shitty Labor Day is and how you should hate the unions, hate the communists, hate the socialists that got you a day off of work. Yeah, I'm not sure that message really resonates with most people.